It's not like they're going really good.
Second place, we have Mary Dupree. And then also Debbie will take photos of the winners tonight afterwards. I should have people stand in the back of the room.
I do have cards, so it's far too gone of an idea. And she wanted me to write it all down. So she wrote me this book. And it's a lightweight book. That's another journal that I did. This was the hardest one I ever did. I chose color. So this page was all brown. This page was all green, blue, black, so on and so forth. So what happens is, you're not going to find all the black things in one day and all the blue things in another day. It doesn't happen like that. So you've got to jump around, and you're not sure if you're going to find enough blue stuff, or if you're going to find white stuff, or pink stuff, or whatever it was. If you decide you want to put them in a little book like this, it's relatively easy. A couple of bucks to get a book printed up like this, and you can get them out. Stan Fellows, who was here, was surprised that we could pull off a painting book of your own work at relatively short time and inexpensive. But it's kind of fun to fill the whole thing up. And
would you go slower?
Go slower, okay. And I will have these at any time. If you do your own book, one thing I like is adding pages that are different size. It's kind of fun. You can change it because there are places that need different sizes. Now, I also collected books that you can write into. So this book here, I ripped out of another book, and instead of it carrying an axe, I made it into a painting.
Your head is getting in the way.
Oops, you know, I think I'm taller than the average. I think that's what the problem is.
Well, no, I should have set that tape at this end of the table.
Okay.
Because it would be...
So anyhow, you'll see there, I go back to the maps, and you're going to see them quite often.
Sandy, would you like to sit down? Would that be easier for you?
Maybe for now. Yeah. Thank you. I'm 6 foot. Thank you. So the plan for today, for my painting, which I am planning on showing you, is going to run around Missouri. We've got a place in the Ozarks, and Virginia kind of knows the area, but the place is a very familiar, comfortable place for us. And every year I go down and I will do a journal. And I used to do this kind of journal. It sounds awful, but you have a painting here and your husband writes here. And it's the only way I could get people involved if I did it this way. But the reality is, it's kind of a boring sketch, and I didn't enjoy doing it. So I moved on, and this was the hardest one I ever did. I chose color. So this page was all brown, this page was all green, blue, black, so on and so forth. So what happens is, you're not going to find all the black things in one day and all the blue things in another day. It doesn't happen like that. So you've got to jump around, and you're not sure if you're going to find enough blue stuff, or if you're going to find white stuff, or pink stuff, or whatever it was. This was exhausting. But at the end, there was a lot of yellow stuff, not so much pink and purple, so they shared a page. And I thought there's got to be another way to do this. This was just so hard because of all these little pictures on the page. So keep that in mind. Now, in this picture here, I started putting little squares in for writing. And that's you're going to start seeing some of these squares again. And these are just different days again in Missouri. And we've got, some people might call it a cabin. We call it more of a shack. It's rough. And when we come home, we're almost ready for the hospital tour trip. But we got home this time, and it was wonderful. We have a lovely time, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So I don't work at night. I work with fake light.
Artificial light.
Artificial light, yeah, yeah. So I've got all these pictures, and I've never done a big painting of while I was there. And that's kind of leads itself to why I have ended up doing these large pictures. But Frank asked if I'd been with, let me grab these.
You want me to move the camera now?
Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger, I think.
Right,
it
right,
should
I can
be.
do that.
Maybe take some of these off and put your journals on the other table.
Thanks, that'd be good. Now, one of the journals that I haven't shown you yet, and I thought I would just do it while he's changing, is one of the times I was in the Ozarks. All over the world, they've got Fred's the dollar store, and you can buy a handkerchief for $1. So what more could you want, huh? And if you've got a Sharpie pen or one of those good pens, we ended up having to stay in a hotel one night just so I could use the iron. That's it. Yep. I had to be able to iron these. But I've. So it's really not quite a painting, but taking it in another way. And
Do you stretch them when you paint them?
you just put it over your knee.
Just
And so we had so much fun with these, but this is somebody who doesn't like ironing. To have to stay in a hotel for a night so you can iron. And then the Christmas tree we picked from our property, and there's part of the Christmas tree. And the oak. So I've got a lot here. This is, did you see that one? Now, by the way, if you do get down there, like the best place you can go to is Walmart, the Bridges, Crystal Bridges. Crystal Bridges in Bentonville, Arkansas have the most amazing museum. And we went there, and this is silver. Funny enough, they had the same sculpture in Washington, D.C. So a lot of the stuff you saw in Bentonville, you'll see in Washington, D.C. So anyhow, there's a lot of stuff here. I'm not going to keep going with that. But the fact is, if I wanted to break up a picture into smaller pieces, I often say that I would take my sketchbooks to the nursing home with me when I needed them. Well, this isn't very convenient. It kind of gets in the way. And the other thing I tried, the other one I tried was this, and it was 2 a day I had to make, and this is Sedona, and each one has a map. And we had gone on a walk, and this was Faith Canyon. This is about the only time I had a person in it, and that's Julie. And Manzanita, so I've got everything I need. This is the Grand Canyon.
Can you bring it down towards you?
Is that good?
Yeah. Well, that's a little bit too much. Okay, good.
Okay. Flagstaff. And again, I love these. I really like these. But this is not the kind of thing that's going to get accepted in a show. And it's not convenient in the nursing home when you want to look at your artwork. Yeah, exactly. So it's And I've got, so there's a whole bunch of days, and this is all in Sedona. Have any of you been to Sedona?
Yes.
Isn't it a nice place to be? And there's a lot of color here that actually made me change my colors just a little bit for Sedona. So there's each of these 2 days make up a day. 2 pages make up a day. And it's not convenient in the fact that you can't have a painting that you want to sell. It's your journal. You can't look at your journal, it's too big. So if I wanted to enter a show, I would kind of put that aside and moved on. I put this one out here because this is from like, I don't know how long ago. This was 1990 something other. Again, you know that ADHD I was talking about? Just too much going on. You didn't know when to stop. Huh? You can tell I had a problem even then. So I started maybe about 8 years ago, I believe, changing the way I do my paintings by doing, there's a French word that I can't pronounce. It's something like trompe-l'oeil, which means,
trompe-l'oeil.
Can you say that again?
Trompe-l'oeil?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's to kind of lead the eye into seeing it. So I teach a lot of classes, and I have classes at home. One of the things we often do is, well, we'll do skies. So we all do skies. We've got all these pictures of skies. But the fact is, what are you going to do with this? I mean, it's just going to sit in a cupboard somewhere. You're not going to, he's not going to go anywhere. So playing around a little bit, I went out and instead put the same thing down, and suddenly it's like I had a reason for putting it as opposed to this one, right? I mean, it's just sitting there.
Move it that way.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah. So you can see it's kind of like there's a reason behind it.
Wonderful.
And the fact of the matter is there is a wreck behind it. That is South Africa. This one is the, Lake Pepin. It's somewhere warm where we never live, and I hate being cold. That's South Africa. That's
Bring it down a little bit.
Fort Snelling, that one.
No, the whole picture.
And then this one is in Wales. So suddenly it becomes telling a story of the places I love. And instead of just a sheet of paper that's going to be filed and never looked at again, or what are you going to do with this thing? Now suddenly this one, you put it together and it makes a little sense. Now you're going to notice they each have a shadow, and they've each got hooks or masking tape, and it just gives a little depth. The interesting thing is I consider the focus of this to be about 1 inch. So you only need to be able to focus about 1 inch. And each one of these paintings could be completely different. They could be really tight, they could be really loose, but the painting itself is really uptight. And that deals with the fact that some people are more likely to be in control of it. So, some of the journals that I teach, I will teach filling, let's get rid of this. Okay. I will do, Lauren was in a class with me once, and he remembers me, so maybe you've seen this before. So I will often do a workshop where we set up the papers on a background before we even paint them. And the funny thing you'll suddenly start realizing is that composition is hugely important. It's got nothing in these things. And you can see where some have got an issue. This one, it needs something right there. Can't you see it? It's just,
Well, I
it
don't
doesn't
think so.
seem right.
I
You
don't
don't?
think it does, no.
Okay, now look at this one. You see these go off the page?
Yeah.
None of these go off the page. Does that bother you?
No, it does not.
I tell you what I
know what
like.
you mean by going off the page.
I like them going off the page because it
Absolutely.
implies that you're looking at a wall and you're just seeing a little bit of it.
That's right.
So look at this one here.
Yeah.
Those are going off the page,
Yes.
and this isn't.
Yeah.
So there's a time before you commit to this huge piece of paper that you get your sketch right so that you know where everything is before you commit to it. Because this is a piece of paper that costs 25 cents and it took you 10 minutes. This is going to cost you $6 and it's going to take you a long time. And to fix that mess is a lot harder than this one. So,
Now, stop you there.
okay.
You've got this beautiful painting, and you got one square left, and you screw up. What happened?
You know, I thought I had that picture here with me. I have the exact answer.
Okay.
I'm so glad you brought it up. I was getting a painting ready at the Bloomington Arts Center this year. And I had that stroke before I had the right corner of my painting done.
Oh,
And the first thing I did when I woke up was told my daughter to quick paint a leafy thing, and we glued it in, and it worked out just fine.
okay.
But if I did, it was like that one in that corner, just right there. And she even signed it, and it was fun to, I thought that was exciting.
Yes.
So, when you decide how you're going to do it, you can transfer it onto this. So, thinking again about Missouri, this is what I've started working with. I've got an approximate size to the piece of paper. And I've got paper cut out and a different pattern. I don't know which one I like. Now you'll notice this one is very straight. Take a look at this one. It's kind of dull. It's like this person who kept straight. I have a heck of a time putting things at an angle. I straighten them. I can't bear paintings at an angle. So mine are straight. It's boring. However, you can do it on a wall. Now, look at this one. Can you see this one? You see the angles?
Yeah.
That one doesn't have to be on a wall. They could be on the ground, right? It could be just floating there. So it's a different feel. Do you want it to be upright, kind of straight, or do you want it to be angled? Now, with me, I think that like that attention deficit thing, it's kind of cool because you can do a little bit here and a little bit here and come back a week later, and it has to hang together. But the whole painting doesn't have to have the same feel. You can paint it loose here, you can paint it uptight there, you can be a negative there, you could do a botanical there, and you could put words there. You can do it all on the page. You get yourself covered. Now, with me and the words, I tend to get a little carried away with some of this stuff. But let's see. I don't know which ones I've got. I'm South African, as you know, and I am personally really upset and worried about animals going extinct. Yeah. So if you take a look at that, these are not real animals. This is a carved ebony elephant that I have at home. This is a carved soapstone rhino that I have at home. This is a shark leg. And in case you don't know any of this, I've written it down with pencil.